Hello dear students, welcome to Tulips Academy online lecture series on Maharashtra Engineering Services pre-examination. So in the previous lecture we have gone through systems of forces. We have enlisted the systems of forces and we have seen the practical examples of systems of forces. So if you have not seen that video, please subscribe to my channel, go to my channel and please watch the video. So you will get to understand all the systems of forces. Now we will see the next point and we will actually enter into the syllabus, that is a resolution of the forces, which is the very basic and most important point from application point of view, because further in every point of the engineering mechanics you need to resolve the forces, you need to resolve the system of the forces. So here in the resolution of the forces there are two types. First of all we will see that two types and then we will go into the details of each type. So first, resolution of the forces. The first type is perpendicular resolution of forces. Perpendicular resolution of forces. And second is non-perpendicular resolution of forces. Non-perpendicular resolution of forces. So these are the two types of the resolution. Now before entering into the details of these types, first of all we will see what do you mean by the resolution, or what we exactly do in the resolution. So in the resolution, practically or technically, the resolution is defined as the process in which a single force is splitted into its components. A single force will be given and you have to split that single force into its components, and that components may act along any directions. Depending upon the directions in which components are acting, the resolution is subdivided into perpendicular and non-perpendicular resolution. Okay, but when you go through this process, when you find out the components of the given force, the most important condition is that the original effect of the force must not change. When you resolve the force, when you split the given force into its components, then the most important condition is that the effect of the single force must be same as combined effect of its components. So if you take the force and if you resolve that force into two components, then the effect of that single force on the object and combined effect of its two components on the same object must be same. So if this condition is satisfied, then the process is called as a resolution. So in the resolution, basically a single force is subdivided into more than one forces. There may be two, there may be three, or there may be n number of components for any force. It is not necessary that every time you will resolve the given force into only two components. You can resolve the given force into n number of components, but the combined effect of all that components must be same. That is the only condition. This condition must be satisfied. Okay. Now, depending upon angle between the components, see we are dealing with the coplanar force system right now, and in the coplanar system you will only deal with a single plane, that is xy plane, and therefore the resolution will be only along two directions. First thing, okay, you will resolve the given force only along two components. There will be only two components of the given force, even if we can resolve the force into n number of components, but right now we will only consider the resolution along any two directions. If these two components are perpendicular to each other, the resolution is called as perpendicular resolution. And if the components of the force are not perpendicular to each other, or the angle between two components is other than 90 degree, the resolution is called as non-perpendicular resolution. So in this video, we will only focus over the perpendicular resolution. We will see how to resolve the force along two perpendicular directions. And obviously, that two perpendicular directions will be along x-axis and along y-axis, because we know the quadrant system. In the quadrant system, x-axis is horizontal, y-axis is vertical. So very easiest way to resolve the forces along two perpendicular directions is along x and along y. That's it. So we will prefer the coordinate system, Cartesian coordinate system for this, and then we will see how to deal with the perpendicular resolution. So that let us start with the perpendicular resolution. So for the perpendicular resolution, we will consider a very simple example. First of all, we will see what are the coordinate systems, what are the rules of the Cartesian coordinate systems, and then we will see how to resolve the forces in the Cartesian coordinate system. So as you know, The Cartesian coordinate system looks like this, which we have already seen in the previous video of systems of forces. Cartesian coordinate system looks like this. This is the origin of the Cartesian coordinate system. As we move towards right of the origin, we get positive x-axis, positive values of the x-axis. As we move towards left of the origin, we will get negative values of the x-axis. Then as we move in the upward direction from the origin, we will get positive directions of y-axis. And as we move downwards from the origin, we will get negative values of the y-axis. So plus x minus x represents horizontal axis, plus y minus y represents vertical axis. That's it. This is the universally accepted combination of the Cartesian coordinate system. Now, to clearly understand the process of resolution, let us consider an object. Let us consider a two-dimensional object, and let me consider that this two-dimensional object is located at the origin. This is my two-dimensional object. Okay. I am only considering the model of the object. Object will be anything. So I am considering that object is located at the origin of this Cartesian coordinate system. Again, this entire coordinate system is local coordinate system because it can be moved anywhere, and its inclination also can be changed. Only the condition is that the angle between x and y axis must be 90 degrees. But you can orient this entire coordinate system in any direction as you want, and therefore this coordinate system is called as local coordinate system. Another coordinate system is global coordinate system, but in the global coordinate system, orientation of x and y axis is fixed. X axis is always horizontal, y axis is always vertical. You cannot change it. And so these global and local coordinate systems, these two coordinate systems are useful when you deal with the stiffness matrix. When you have to prepare the stiffness matrix of the truss members, there this concept is important. Global coordinate system and local coordinate system. But right now, we can only focus over the global local coordinate system, where you can change the orientation of x and y axis as per your convenience. Only condition is that angle must be 90 degrees between these two axes. So this is the object, and suppose the force is applied over the object. Force is applied over the object. The magnitude of the force is F. The inclination of the force with respect to positive x-axis is theta, and theta is measured anti-clockwise. See, angle is always measured in the anti-clockwise fashion, most probably. In most of the cases, angle and quadrants are always measured in the anti-clockwise fashion. And as you know, this is first quadrant, this is second quadrant, this is third quadrant, and this is fourth quadrant. Quadrants are also numbered in the anti-clockwise fashion. Now, if you look at the first quadrant, the properties of first quadrant are x is positive, y is positive. So I will write plus plus. Then properties of second quadrant, x minus y plus, so it is minus plus. X coordinate is always written first, and then y coordinate is written, so minus plus is the combination of the second quadrant. Then third quadrant, x is also negative, y is also negative, so minus minus. And for the fourth quadrant, x positive, y negative, so it is plus minus. So this is my these are my properties of quadrants. Now I am considering the force which is acting in my first quadrant, and nature of the force is tensile, or more precisely we can say that the force is of pulling nature. Pulling. Why it is pulling? Because it is acting away from its point of application. The force is acting from this point and it is acting away from its point of application, and therefore it is pulling the object. The force which acts away from its point of application pulls the object. So it is a pulling force. Now if you look at this effect, if you look at effect of this force on the object, the force will pull the object, and due to this pulling effect, the object will move in the first quadrant. That's it. Object will move in the first quadrant. Means if you look carefully, the force is also lying in the first quadrant, object is also moving in the first quadrant. Therefore, the resolution will take place in the same quadrant in which force is lying, when the force is tensile. Please very clearly understand this concept, that when the force is tensile, then the object will move in the same quadrant in which force is lying, and therefore you can resolve the force in the same quadrant. But that is not the case in the case of compressive forces. When force is compressive, the system get reversed, but that we will see later on, okay, after some time. But right now the force is tensile, so object is also coming in the first quadrant, therefore we can resolve the force in the same quadrant. Now look at the quadrant properties. X is positive, y is positive, means when you have to resolve the force, you will replace this force with its two components. one component will be acting along positive x direction and another component is acting along negative x direction. Okay, according to the properties of quadrant. And see, when you are resolving the force, the resolution includes replacing the force with its components. You have to replace the original force with its components. It is not that you are keeping the original force there and you are also applying the components of the force there. Okay, keeping the original force, if you also add the components, then the effect will be doubled. Effect will not be same, effect will be doubled. So you have to replace the original force with its components. So what we do, we will replace this force, original force with its components. And while replacing it, you will use the properties of quadrant. So now we will see how to resolve. Okay, we have understood the quadrant in which the force will be resolved. Now we will see how to resolve the force. So let me extend the x-axis so that we can be able to resolve the force. So this is my extended x-axis. Now here you have to go with the triangle law of forces. You must know the statement of triangles law because this resolution solely depends upon triangles law of forces. What triangles law states? Triangles law states that if two forces are represented in magnitude and direction by two sides of triangle taken in order. Taken in order means where first force ends, at that point second force starts. The point at which first force ends, at that point second force starts. That is the taken in order. So when two forces are represented in magnitude and direction by two sides of the triangle taken in order, then third closing side of the triangle represents the resultant of two forces. Resultant is another concept. Resultant is reverse process of the resolution. In the resolution, you split a single force into its components, and when you find out the resultant, you combine all the forces in the single force. So these two processes are exactly reverse processes. So here, now we are going to resolve the force, and we know that its x component is also positive, y component is also positive. So first of all, I will draw the x component. So for that purpose, let me consider tip of the force. This is my tip of the force, and let me draw the perpendicular from the tip of the force on the x-axis. Okay, what I have drawn? I have considered tip of the force and I have drawn perpendicular from the tip of the force on the x-axis. So this is my point of intersection. Okay, this is origin. Let me call this point as A. So this OA, this distance OA represents x component, and arrowhead will be directed along positive x-axis because x-axis is positive in the first quadrant. So this is my x-axis from O to A. This is my x component. This is my x component of the force. Let me call this as Fx. Fx stands for x component of the force. Now, according to triangles law, I have to consider another force, second force, where the first force is ending, and my first force ends at A. So therefore, my second force will start at A. Okay, and it will move along positive y because my y component is also positive. According to property of quadrant, my y component is also positive. But where I will draw this y component, my y component will start from A. Okay, so this will be my y component which will start from A, and it is directed along positive y axis. And now if you look at this system, my triangle's law of forces is satisfied because these two components, this is Fy, let me call this as Fy. These two components represent two forces. So these two forces are represented in magnitude and direction by two sides of the triangle taken in order, and third closing side of the triangle, this third closing side of the triangle is representing the resultant of these two forces. This resultant is denoted by F. So I can say that Fx and Fy are components of F, and F is resultant of Fx and Fy, vice versa. Fx and Fy are components of F, and F is resultant of Fx and Fy. That's it. So this process in which I have resolved F into its two components is called as perpendicular resolution. Why it is called as perpendicular resolution? Because angle is 90 degree. Angle between components is 90 degree. That's it. It is extremely simple. So this is about the tensile force. If the force is tensile in the second quadrant, then my x component will be negative, y component will be positive. Again, I will draw the same triangle, and my triangle law of forces will be satisfied. If the force is tensile in the third quadrant, then both the components will be negative, and if the force is in the fourth quadrant and it is tensile, then x positive and y is negative. Now, very important consideration, where force will be compressive. Okay, now we will see the another point when the force will be compressive. What to do when the force will be compressive? So for that purpose, let me consider the compressive force in the second quadrant. Okay, So consider the compressive force in the second quadrant. So this force is compressive. This force is compressive in nature. Let me call this as F, or let me call this as F1 and this as F2. I will write it here, F2. Okay? And this is point of application, origin. The point of application of the force is at the origin. Okay? Now if you look at this force, the point of application or the force is acting towards the point of application. It is not moving away from the point of application. It is moving towards the point of application. Means it is pushing the object. It is not pulling the object. It is pushing the object. Therefore, it is of pushing nature. And when this force will act on this object, the object will not be pulled in the second quadrant now, but object will be pushed in the fourth quadrant. It means that my force is in the second quadrant, but effect of the force is in the fourth quadrant. So you cannot resolve the force in the second quadrant now. Most of the students make this mistake. The force is given in the compressive nature and they resolve the force in the same quadrant in which the force is observed, force is shown. But they forget that the quadrant in which force is lying is not important, but effect of the force is important. And here effect of the force is in the fourth quadrant. It is seen in the fourth quadrant. And therefore you have to transfer that force from the second quadrant to the fourth quadrant. Or you have to convert that force from the compressive nature to tensile nature. And for this purpose, we will take help of law of transmissibility, not compressibility. We will take help of law of transmissibility of forces. I'm extremely sorry. So what law of transmissibility states? Law of transmissibility states that a force can be transferred anywhere along its line of action without changing its magnitude and direction. The effect of the force remains same. So what I will do, I will draw a line of action of this force. Line of action is the imaginary line, which I have already explained in the previous video. So please go through that video to clear your concepts. So this is my line of action of the force. And now what I will do, I will transfer this force along this line of action anywhere. Means now I will take this force, I will lift this force, I will shift this force from second quadrant to fourth quadrant. Because the line of action in the second quadrant, if I extend it, it will go into the fourth quadrant. Means I can shift this force from the second quadrant to fourth quadrant without changing its effect on the body. Because either I can push the body from back side or I can pull the body from front side. Effect will be same. Okay. So here, what I will do, I will replace the force by other force, or I will shift this force. So after shifting, the force will look like this. That's it. The same force, F2. Neither I have changed the magnitude nor I have changed the direction. The magnitude of the force was F2. Right now it is F2. The arrowhead, look at the arrowhead of the force. It is also kept same. The direction of the force is kept same. Only what I have changed the point of application, or I have changed the nature of the force. Initially it was compressive in the second quadrant, now it is tensile in the fourth quadrant. And now if you look here, the force is tensile in the fourth quadrant and it is of pulling nature, and when it will apply on this object, the object will also come in the fourth quadrant. It means that now the force and effect of the force are in the same quadrant, and now you can resolve the force in the fourth quadrant. So please remember, while resolving the force, please check whether the force is of tensile nature or compressive nature. If the force is of tensile nature, no problem, you can resolve the force in the same quadrant in which the force is lying. But if the force is of compressive nature, then convert that force into the tensile nature by using law of transmissibility of force, extend the line of action of the force, shift the force from the given quadrant to the opposite quadrant. The force was in second quadrant, the quadrant which is opposite to second quadrant is fourth quadrant. So shift the force in the fourth quadrant. Similarly, the quadrant which is opposite to first quadrant is third. Quadrant opposite to third quadrant is first. Quadrant opposite to fourth quadrant is first. That's it. And after shifting the force, you will convert the given force into tensile force, and then okay. So if force is tensile, then no problem. You can resolve the force in the same quadrant in which the force is lying. But if the force is of compressive nature, then you have to shift that force in the opposite quadrant, and you can convert the force from compressive nature to the tensile nature, and then you can resolve the force in that quadrant. So this is the application, or this is the perpendicular resolution. Why it is called as perpendicular resolution? Because angle between the components is 90 degree. Now in the next video, we will see non-perpendicular resolution, in which angle between the components will be other than 90 degree. Angle may be acute angle may be obtuse angle, but it will not be 90 degree. So in the non-perpendicular resolution, we will need parallelogram law of forces. So in that video, we will see the statement of parallelogram law, and then we will see the derivation. There is a small derivation, and in that small derivation, we will find out expression to find out resultant of two forces which are not perpendicular to each other. Here, two forces are perpendicular. So in the next video, we will see how to find out resultant of that two forces which are not perpendicular to each other by using the parallelogram law of forces. If you have to stay tuned with us, please subscribe to our channel Tulips Academy and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates for our videos, and to link with us for this Maharashtra Engineering Services Preparation online lectures series on the engineering mechanics. Thank you very much.